Peace, what's going on, y'all? It's your man, SoulMan IT. Welcome and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are going to be making some beats here. I'm going to show you my beat making process. Big shout out to all of y'all who had come through for the last one. Thank y'all for the support, and I'm going to continue to keep making this a series. Yeah, so I've had some questions on like basically how do I sample using FL Studio? How do I incorporate it into my handy dandy keyboard here, the M Audio Oxygen Pro 25? Like how do you basically assign the samples to each of the different 16 pads that are on here, or even just using the keys? So we're going to go over a little bit of that today. But yeah, just basically my thought process, and is concise / detailed, whatever that wording or phrasing is possible. So we're gonna head over here to first we gotta find some samples. The sample flip. That's what we're here for, right? Boom. This is where we're gonna start today, is with the sample lab. So yeah, basically the samplelab.com is where I get a lot of my current samples. Basically the royalty-free samples. You don't ever have to worry about clearing them, which is pretty awesome. They notify you when like a sample has been bought by a major label, and just so you're aware of that type of deal, right? So I see one already that's caught my eye, Soulmetrics Volume 6. We're gonna open that up in a new tab. So let's just go through it in order here, see what we got, what we come up with. So they got like a little bit of the previews that are here. Now there are 10 original compositions in this one here, live instrumentation, stems versions available, hassle-free clearances. So you can pay for $30, just get the whole pack itself, or you can pay $50 and get the compositions as well as the stems, so you can get a little bit more creative there. But yeah, let's just get into this here. We got memory lane here. Ooh. Man, that's wavy. Okay. I might be sold on that one alone. I definitely can hear myself chopping that one. Say less. Say less. Jimmy Q, my goodness. Oh my Lord. Gee whiz. Okay, there's jams on this. We're sold. We're copying this. We're definitely copying this. Let's bring this back up. Cool. And we're just going to go through the first pack that finished downloading. That's the Soulmetrics Volume 6. Let's go with that one there. All right. So you want to basically use whatever program you want to use to chop the samples up in. We're using Adobe Audition 1.5. So this does not look like the the newer versions of Adobe Audition. Basically, this is really low on the CPU, so it doesn't tax the computer when you're chopping stuff up. This is also very similar to what I started making beats on over 20 years ago, which was Cool Edit Pro 2.0, mixed with Fruity Loops, the older versions of that. I would chop the samples up into small bite-sized pieces, and then you load them into FL Studio or Fruity Loops. Basically, you're doing this so you're not taxing the computer system, because a lot of the times we were just working on what we had, laptops, desktops that didn't have too much storage and what have you. So I still kind of work within that kind of a workflow until I get something that's a little bit beefier on the tech side. So just going to chop these up. What we're looking for is where there are rises or peaks in the audio signal wave itself. So if you are counting along with me, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can kind of like, I was a little sloppy on it. Let's do it again. 2, 3, 4, 1. So 1, the next count for 1, where we do like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. Right? And if you're counting along with it, it makes your chops a lot easier to chop. And you start to actually visualize where the sound is at, where the drums are, where the count is really. So it makes your life easier when you do put it into your beat making program. It's like some soulful Charlie Brown here. I like it. All right, make another chop there. Bring this over some. Probably end somewhere here. Yep. Now this one's a pretty simple chop. There's only four sections really of this. So you got this first one will probably make for a good like intro verse part, just because like of all the space that's there when you bring in the horns. This is still kind of building on the first section here. You hear some faint strings now in the background. Now you really hear the strings. So I kind of know how I want to chop this now. So now we're going to save the chops, make our lives easier. Yeah, you want to make your life a lot easier when it comes to how you save this, how you catalog your samples, so you can always go back to them with the quickness. All right, that's that. Now we're gonna go into the beat making program, FL Studio 2024, and start making the beat with this. Cool beans, got that. All right, so let us insert the fruity slicer. That's what I use to do my chops in. You can use Edison if you want to use Edison, but yeah, we're just going to do it here in Fruity Slicer. So I'm going to locate the sample itself. Again, you want to make your life easier by how you label the samples so you can find them in a jiffy. All right, so let's start with the first one here. Now for me, if you go over here, you can start to control the envelope for this here, the wave itself. I bring the attack down, the hold down, the decay down, raise the sustain all the way up, and then I bring the release down. This will enable you, so like when you do select it, you'll see in a second, but it'll play throughout the whole thing and then stop at where the end of the cut is made. So right now, we're not going to worry too much about these cuts. We're just going to get this set up. We have our group cuts right here set to 1. We're going to set polyphony to 1 as well. This way, when we do play any of this on the keys, hold up, there we go, they're not running into each other. If you don't do that, they'll start running into each other. So right now we're just going to make the beat with FL Slicer, and then we'll make it with the FPC, which enables us to use the drum pads that are on the keyboard here. So going to use the high, you have the high cut and the low cut to do the auto slices for you. So I usually will do that. I'll bring down the low just a tad bit. You can raise the more you raise it up, the more cuts that it'll make. Put our metronome on. Maybe make it a little bit slower, 87. Shout out to my 80s babies out there. All right. So half the sample looks like it's right there. Nope. So I just right click on it to play the sample I want to chop, and then come up here and where you see the red slicer icon here, right click again, and then you can split slice, right? So this will get you really good. The more you do this, it'll get you really good at being able to hear where the slices are and watching the peak and then listening along with this. So you're really chopping visually as well as sonically. Right? So I sliced that one just a little bit too much into it. So I gotta come to the one before it. You can kind of hear it. Where it cuts there at the end, which is like right there if you can see it. So I'm just gonna hit that, split slice, come back to the one ahead of it, and then hit remove. And then now it sounds like it's on where it's supposed to be chopped at. Slice here. And I think the hi-hat there. Yep. And then we'll do the same thing here. All right. So this process is probably one of the more tedious parts of making beats. Yeah, it just kind of is what it is. All right, so right here you have your pitch shift, and then right here you have your time stretch. So we will bring the pitch up about 200 cents. Right? And let's just go ahead and start adding some drums to this here. So I'm going to use my Filthy Drums and 909 drums kit. It's a pretty deep kick right there. Turn my headphones up just a bit. It's a nice punchy kick right there. And we'll save that for now. And then let's just get ourselves a simple snare. All right. So I'm just going to actually lay the snare first. That's on pattern 3. And we'll actually do a 4 on this. Okay. And embrace making mistakes here, y'all. 3, 4. Okay, why didn't it go for... I got to figure this part out here with this new update for FL Studio. So right here is 16, 32, 48, and then 64. So that should give it, okay. So, like we said, embrace mistakes. Here we go. All right. Nice. Okay, we're gonna add the kick drum now. Kick. There we go. There we go. All right. All right. This is where I'm actually going to take the metronome off. We're going to come to pattern 2. Get our hi-hat. All right. And let me actually switch it over here to keys capture so y'all can see that. And let's bring it to 32 again. Gonna take it off of quantize. There we go. Got the semblance for the beat there. And let us start adding the chops. We're going to come over to pattern 4. All right. Now I haven't made any adjustments to the time stretching of this at all. So we're just going to see if this actually flows or what we got to do time stretching wise for it. So I'm going to bring it back to the keys so we can see. Now I can select it here, or I can raise an octave up on my keyboard, and it'll bring it down one section. So we'll just do it like that. And I'm just going to hit play and just vibe out with this. So I like that. That's cool. That's fly. Now it's almost like we can, for like a simple boom bap joint, for real, you can just have that for the verse, right? And then just for the hook. Then you can bring the other sections in to mirror that, because I mean the melody is pretty much just that the whole time. Right? All right, so let's try that, see what we get. There we go. All right, so we got the semblance there of that. And let us move on now to pattern 5, which we'll call verse 2, or second section of the verse. And let's see. All right, we got that there. And all right, let's just record that. That's where that starts at. Here we go. Here we go. So we got verse, that's the second section of the verse. And all right, let's show y'all what it'll look like here in the pattern window. We don't have to highlight it, actually, it'll just loop from the beginning. So here we go. All right. All right. I like it. I like it. And now, mind you, this is just making a beat off of one of the sections that we had sampled, right? There were 3 other sections that y'all saw. So yeah, just keeping that in mind. You don't want to have too many rules or overthink the process, I should say. When it comes to making the beat, if you're vibing with it, that's what counts, right? Now we just need a bass line in this. All right, let's save this. What do we even call this? Sunday Jazzy Soul 1. Okay. And we're gonna try to find ourselves a bass to add to this. So we got hard bass, got the nasty bass, got a moog bass. What's going on, Harold? Got this moog bass. Just gonna play around with it some. My keys down. That's my root right there. All right, let's get a bass. Here we go. All right, a little walking bass. Yeah. And let's bring it back so y'all can hear, or see rather. All right, so let's start giving it a little bit more character. I'm gonna come up here, name this to baseline. And okay, we're gonna start assigning tracks to this now. One cool thing that I learned from an engineer out here in Pittsburgh named Soy Sauce, shout out to Soy Sauce, is letting having a high and at least a low and a high. You can get more into it with more sections in that in the EQ sense, but we're gonna have a low, kind of like a lo-fi and a hi-fi version of our sample, and you'll see what I mean by that in a second. So we're gonna assign the top one here to channel 1, and the bottom one to 2, and then the drums and the rest of the instruments will fall in line accordingly. So let's go to our kick, and let me just hear this right quick. I think this was, where's my other kick? That was my beefy kick. So I'm going to actually copy this to that. And then I only want that with the heavy kick on the main kick, on the 1 and the 3. So just going to do that and see how it sounds. Hear that? Okay. So the punchy kick is still there. Doing like our double kicks and all that. We're gonna turn this into 3. And then hi-hats will be 4. Snare will be 5. Our bass will be 6. Let's go up here to our mixer. And I'm just gonna set a saturated limiter a little bit on this. All right, same thing here that we did with the pattern. We want to rename this, rename that to kick so I don't confuse myself. So I'm just going to solo this right quick, and we have this as our low sample, and then this is going to be our high sample, right? And just going to copy and paste this, get to the second section, copy and paste that. Whoops. Let's cut it. Boom. All right. So when we hit play, because all these are muted, all we hear is this one here. All right. I'm going to add a limiter there. And in slot 1, I'm going to add a parametric EQ, basically going from slot 1 to slot 10. Whatever's in slot 1 will be the effect that goes first, and then sequentially going down to slot 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on forth. Will be the effects that are added after whatever is 1, right? So right now, I want to bring this up. Since we're making this the low sound, we're going to bring the high shelf all the way kind of right to where mid is at. We want to bring 6 and 5 down some. We're going to finesse forward just a little bit. But now this gives us our little bassy sound. Now I don't want to take the bass out completely from the sample, because that low end is really, really gritty and adds to the track. This little knob right here below the 2 speakers options that are facing each other is your pan. So if you pan it to the left, or if you click and hold it and make it blue, right, it'll start to separate the sound that way. If you do the opposite way, it'll merge your left and right together, so it'll sound more like it's in front of you, right? And give you that ghost face. So we're going to separate it out just a tad bit. If you're listening right now on your headphones or on left and right speakers that have been set up a bit properly and where you're at, you'll be able to hear the difference of this. If you're in the car, you'll definitely hear the difference, right? Now we're going to unmute the high amp. Add the limiter to this as well. Do the same thing with the EQ. However, this time we're going to bring the middle, or bring the low shelf over to the middle. And now you should hear more of a balanced sound. And I tend to want to like raise up the high shelf just a little bit more than I do with the low end. So you should hear them hi-hats, you should hear the piano strokes. Drive this up a little bit more. Then we're gonna add a reverb to this, reverb 2. Raise the size up, make the sound a little bit more wet. Gives it way more space now. And we're gonna separate this a bit further. So usually I make my low stuff, when it comes to like the panning of stuff, anything that's got like a lot of reverb on it, especially, I'll try to have as far separated as possible. It just sounds cool to me. And it sounds like there's more space that's being added the more that you pan it left and right equally. And when you have the low stuff, you kind of have it in the middle as well as the not too much center, because I'm gonna have my kicks, I'm gonna have my drums there. And then usually when I'm recording, I'm gonna want the vocals to kind of sit right there in the middle as well too, unless I want them to be on the left or the right hand side, right? So now we're gonna add our kick. That's the next thing in line. We're gonna bring it on the song pattern now so we can hear it. Ugh. Now I want to bring number 2 up over here. This is going to be controlling how beefy the bass sounds, right? It should sound like way crunchier now. You kind of just want to play around with these if this is like your first time using EQ, just so you can hear what you do for one beat, you're not always going to do for the next beat. And that's what'll kind of give it those natural feelings and vibes. Otherwise, your music will start to sound formulaic. Now the punch is kind of controlled by the high end over here. So you should be able to hear that now. I kind of want to keep that. And don't be afraid to stack your drums, right? You see I got 2 kicks here. We got 3 hi-hats, 2 snares. It's going to add a lot of life and extra texture to your beat. So don't be afraid. All right, cool. And then we'll just copy and paste that. Now we have our intro. Rename that. All right. We'll have it play for two times, so 4 bars all day. We'll bring this over. Have it online, so this way it snaps up. There we go. And then we're going to delete this. This will be our hook then. Let's add that. All right. Showtime, y'all. Here we go. right, this is messing around right there. But hold up, I want to add one more thing. Like, I like that. I love this Moog bass. Let's see. Is there? All right, still saving. There we go. All right, let's see. I messed up in one spot, but let's just hear what it sounds like. Put this on 7. I kind of like it with the mistakes there, to be honest, except for the one I just took out. But all right, so that is making a beat in FL Studio 2024 using the FL slicer and then using the M Audio Oxygen Pro 25, just the keys, not using the beat pads. We'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, hopefully that helps y'all, those who were asking questions and trying to figure out how do you make a beat inside Fruity Loops. We used Adobe Audition 1.5. You can use whatever you want to use to chop the beats up, chop the sample up rather, and then import it into FL Studio. You can use Edison if you want to do it that way. That's totally fine. You can use SliceX if you want to do that too. All that is within FL Studio. This is more so the way of if you're using like a budget laptop like I was using for years. And like now I'm even still kind of using a budget laptop, even though this is the best laptop I've ever worked on before. This is kind of the best setup I've ever worked on when it comes to media production. But for those of us who can't afford having a high-end studio system or whatever like that, just to make beats on in your crib or wherever, this is like the most efficient way I've been able to find where it's not taxing your computer and you're able to crank out EPs and beats and albums and so forth. So hopefully that answered y'all questions and you enjoyed this. We're going to get to the full beat now so you can listen. At some point I will have an archive of sorts for us to be able to download or listen to these back on, as opposed to just going to YouTube and listening to the actual live stream or just the playlist for it. But yeah, I do thank y'all for watching. It's your man SoulMan IT. We outski. Enjoy. Peace.
It's your man, SoulMan IT on the beats.